Good afternoon and welcome to this session of Wilmington City Council's Finance and Economic Development Committee meeting. I apologize for that delay. My name is Bud Friel and I'll be hosting the meeting this afternoon. Joining me from City Council is President Hanifa Shabazz, 1st District Council Member Linda Gray, 3rd District Council Member Santi Oliver, 4th District Council Member Michelle Harley, Council Members at Large Ciro Adams, and Loretta Walsh. Before we get started, over the last 2 months, we have lost over 182 Delawareans to the COVID-19 virus. I'd like to just do a moment of silence as we give our thoughts and prayers to the families, friends, and co-workers, these Delawareans. Thank you. As you know, the mayor proposed his general operating budget for fiscal year 2021 back in March. It's council's responsibility to review that budget and to pass a balanced budget by the end of May. This is the 8th and the last of a series of budget hearings. We have 3 main items on the agenda today. First, we're going to talk with the Department of Public Works and review their budget for the Water Sewer Fund. Next, we're going to have a 6-year presentation on the Water Sewer Fund. And last, we will do the revenue projections for the operating budget for fiscal year 2021. I want to mention we've been joined by Councilmember Bash Turner from the 5th District. We're going to follow the same format we followed with the other hearings. We'll have a brief presentation from the Office of Management and Budget. Then we will do, we'll jump right into some question and answers for the department. And then, like I said, then we'll get into the 6-year presentation. So at this point, I want to go ahead and turn it over to the Office of Management and Budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Council President, and honorable members of City Council. I would like to present the Department of Public Works proposed operating budget for FY 2021. The budget details I'm presenting here are based on the original proposed budget, which was developed prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. Commissioner Kelly will be discussing revisions to some of the budget items during her presentation. The Department Water Sewer Fund budget request is just under $72 million. This represents an increase of $648,000 or 0.9% over the FY 2020 budget. Here are the various account groups that contributed to the Water Sewer Fund increase. In personal services, 2 split-funded General Labor 2 positions were added to support the increased workload in the sewer maintenance division, costing $65,600. Regular salaries rose by $191,000 or 3.8% due to a citywide 2% COLA, step increases for non-union classified employees, and annual reviews for executive and managerial employees. Pension contribution decreased by $55,000. MS&E in the Water Sewer Fund decreased a total of $22,200 for FY 2021. The total decrease consists of the following: contracted maintenance services, which includes the contract with new vendor, Jacobs, to operate and maintain the city's wastewater treatment plant, tank painting, and hydrant testing and maintenance, decreased $1.9 million. Repairs to equipment was increased by $981,000. reflecting a more aggressive electrical and mechanical preventive maintenance for pumps and valves at filter plants and pumping stations. Repairs to building structures increased by $164,000 due to a higher cost of maintaining structures, parking lots, sidewalks, and driveways. Repairs to sewer lines rose by $100,000, reflecting the expanded maintenance program. Consultant expenses increased by $176,000 due to on-call assistance for utility billing operations that include analytical support, benchmarking, and related services. Legal account was increased by $125,000 to handle the next phase in a lawsuit against the Army Corps of Engineers for unpaid stormwater fees and to cover legal fees associated with the continuing mediation with Newcastle County over their unpaid sewage treatment fees. License fee for Tetra Tech and project management integration have caused computer software non-capital to increase by $164,000. Depreciation has increased by $165,000, reflecting the aggressive infrastructure replacement program adopted by the department that has increased both the number and value of the city's water, sewer, and stormwater infrastructure fixed assets. Finally, debt service increased by $264,000, while existing debt service increased by $1.2 million. This was offset by the projected savings from the refinancing of older debt of $897,000. This concludes my overview of the Department of Public Works Water Sewer Fund proposed budget. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Just a couple of quick comments before I turn it over to Commissioner Williams. We have about 70 minutes to review this budget with Public Works. I want to remind council members that we are only talking about the Water Sewer Fund budget for Public Works. We reviewed their operating budget last week. So all questions should be budgetary matters for Water Sewer. We will have a public comment period at the end of this hearing. So if anyone from the public would like to speak, they will be allowed 3 minutes to make comment. And once again, their comments should pertain to the Water Sewer Fund budget for Public Works. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Kelly Williams. Commissioner, are you with us? Did we lose you? You have to turn your mic on.
Hi, this is Vic.
All right, do you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate you hearing us out on our water budget this afternoon. If you could put up our slide deck, that would be helpful. Thank you. So in addition to all the work that Public Works does with respect to street cleaning, snow removal, street paving, sidewalk replacement, traffic signals, trees, the Department of Public Works runs an entire wastewater, water, and stormwater utility in addition to all of those things. General overview, we have approximately 108,000 customers inside and outside of the city. We have 2 water treatment plants that produce an average of 16 million gallons a day per water of drinking water. We have 420 miles of water transmission and distribution mains, 370 miles of sewer and stormwater mains. We run an regional wastewater treatment plant servicing approximately 600,000 customers. And we have a stormwater management program that captures more than 80% of the stormwater runoff in the city. Next slide. Our vision is just to continue to provide uninterrupted quality services given these really uncertain times. The priorities that we have for 2021 are focused on continuing and maintaining to improve the city's infrastructure and to provide customers with safe drinking water, wastewater treatment, and stormwater mitigation. We have 100% compliance with all regulatory requirements for drinking water, wastewater treatment, and that's our goal, is to continue that as well. We have a goal of implementing stormwater mitigation projects that focus on areas with reoccurring flooding issues. And we're going to continue a proactive identification and replacement of potential lead service lines. Those are our goals for this year. Next slide. We have hundreds of different data points in which we collect information with respect to our performance. But the three major areas really include the number of non-compliance events that must be reported to the state or federal agency, including combined sewer overflows, a violation of the NIPD's plan, permit, boil water advisory, Safe Drinking Water Act violations. So long as we continue not to have any of those, that's one of our major measures. We also look at the length of a time a customer is without water, and we measure that in hours. And we also closely look at the number of water quality complaints that we get in a week, a day, a month. So I would like to take the time to introduce to you our new water division director. Her name is Chris O. She's been with the city for more than 10 years in various different positions, and we're really excited to have her as the new director. So she will be giving some of this presentation, but I just wanted to make you all aware that Chris has officially been announced the division director. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Vince Crocchia, the Deputy Commissioner.
Hello, Vince, how are you? I see a slide here before we get into the question and answers. I think as everybody knows now that the fiscal year 2021 budget was proposed prior to the COVID-19 crisis that we are now finding ourselves in. And I know all the departments have gone back and looked at their budgets to see what they can reduce as we move forward. And you have a pretty lengthy list here of items. I'm not going to ask you to go through all these. If you could put that slide back up there, please. The department reductions. Thank you. I guess my only question would be, Vince, do any of these reductions impact the priorities and the performance measures that Commissioner Williams just discussed?
But a couple of these priorities, those we will be able to meet all of those. However, there are several things in here as it relates to positions and so forth that you'll see in future slides that we that were granted that we in light of the post-COVID reductions we dispensed with. There were some new initiatives that we were going to look to enact this year. Again, that those were scaled back as well.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and jump in. Was there anything else that you wanted to cover before we jumped into the questions, Vince?
No, we can go right into the questions.
Well, obviously the first question, similar to we asked other departments, discuss budgetary account lines in the water sewer fund that could potentially be impacted as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to take the next couple of slides. In regards to overtime, for the sake of time, I'm going to be real short. We have a total of 8 plant operators, and 2 of those plant operators are out due to the COVID-19. But right now we are still running and operating, and we are using some overtime in regards to that.
Derek, could you just go ahead and introduce yourself?
Derek Akbar, I am the Administrative Services.
Okay, thank you, sir. Discuss any current vacant positions, specify duration of vacancy, and is there a timeline for filling those positions?
We move to that slide. We have a total of 11 vacancies. And to answer your question, we are looking to fill these positions as soon as we get a plan, a solid plan with HR on how to hire the individuals that we are looking to hire here on the vacancy. There's a total of 11, and you can see they have the division. We actually have the date of vacancy, and we also have the status, and the fund code.
Okay. Discuss any proposed changes to positions, new positions, deleted, upgrades, title changes, etc.
In regard to vacant position reduction, we are looking to reduce a plant mechanic, labor foreman, 2 general laborers, construction inspector, and a consistent service assistant, which will give us a total of $407,000. Position allocation will consist of 2, which will total for the water fund $81,000, a little over $81,000. As far as the position title changes, we are going to change environmental program manager is going to change to the manager of sustainability and environmental compliance. The water system supervisor will change to utility project manager. In regards to the upgrade positions, the labor foreman 2 will change to the water system valve technician. We will have a water production supervisor and an assistant water production supervisor. New positions will be maintenance mechanic 3, and that position comes from finance.
Okay. Discuss the planned use of $4.2 million budgeted professional fees, up $406,000 over last year's budget. Specify vendor's name, and a contract, etc. There's a number of items there, and also mention if any of the vendors are DBEs, disadvantaged business enterprises.
All right, so the next 3 slides will cover the answer to this. The first group is our professional service and professional fees is a consultants group. One firm that we're using, Arbola, is a DBE firm that we're using for integration of project management software. Again, if there's any questions on any of these, some of these firms we've used for years, some we've used just for a relatively short amount of time. The second slide is the engineering group. There are a couple of firms on there. Their DBEs is indicated with bold next to in the scope of services. Again, some firms we've used for a while, some for a relatively short period. Also, legal fees and the temp agencies come out of this budget line as well. Next slide that you're looking at now is was about the temp agency employees, and that gives a listing of the water sewer funded titles for the positions and the length of service that those individuals have been with the department.
Okay, discuss the planned use of $500,000 budget and overtime.
Overtime within the water sewer fund is broken down with the following divisions: sewer maintenance division for $75,000, water system for $420,000, wastewater treatment for $500, and stormwater for $4,000. The various things that are handled under each division are in the bullet points underneath each. Next slide, please. Management's been actively engaged in controlling overtime using Kronos. Our plants operate on a 24/7, 365 schedule, so there is some overtime built into the plant operator schedule, and also vacancies that are caused by sick vacation or any other type of leave or termination or retirement will require overtime to fill in with plant operators to keep the plants operating.
Discuss the approximately 21 million budgeted and contracted maintenance accounts line pertaining to the wastewater treatment plant.
So that within that line, it's a contracted maintenance services line. The wastewater treatment plant operations and maintenance agreement is for 20 years with Jacobs OMI at an amount of $19,962,000 per year.
Discuss the approximate 8.9 budgeted and contracted maintenance accounts groupings, up almost 1.2 million over last year. Specify if Newcastle County pays shares of these costs. Specify if any vendors are DVEs.
All right, so within the contract and maintenance group, you'll see the various vendors that we're using within that line. Newcastle County is responsible for 30% of the asset management contract, and the other PO that we do is actually with Newcastle County for the Amoresco charges and the electricity charges for the city-county building. That's split with the city paying 70%, Newcastle County paying 30%. That's based on the occupancy of this building.
There's no DBEs in this group.
Not that I was able to identify.
Discuss the planned use of approximately 775,000 budget in bulk chemicals, up 50,000 over the prior year's budget, considering actuals have not exceeded 650 in the last 2 years.
Okay, so our chemical usage is based on an average production of 20 mgd. Chemical usage is being continually optimized and reviewed and is based on production demand. If we were to experience main breaks and leaks that result in higher water production, they require additional treatment chemicals. If we have to go over to our Hoops Reservoir and utilize our backup water supply for any period of time, heavy rain events, pollution discharge events, and that type of thing, or drought, that'll require additional chemical usage in order to treat that water. The bulk chemical usage doesn't occur on a linear basis. It's based on demand. So during the warmer months, water production is higher. Spring and summer specifically can require additional chemical usage. If we are experiencing any type of source water issues on the Brandywine Creek from wastewater treatment plants upstream of our intakes, that can require additional hypo to treat the water. And as it relates to our FY20 actuals, they are at 610,000 as of the date this was put together through March, running above last year's total 12-month expenses.
Discuss the 802,000 budgeted miscellaneous materials and supplies and parts account grouping. Specify if any of these vendors are DBEs.
Okay, so these are essentially blanket POs that we do for various organizations and companies that we need for miscellaneous materials, supplies, and parts are broken down over the next two slides. Some of them have yet to determine. They can change each year. Out of the ones that are indicated, I was not able to identify any of the ones that we know we would be using as DBE.
Okay. Council President Shabazz, do you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was waiting to get to the end. I wanted to see if you could give me a total amount of consultants that you use throughout the department, and how many of them are DBEs? I was trying to look at your listing.
They would be on the professional fees slide, Council President.
I saw 4. Okay, 4 out of how many? 4 out of how many?
Don't have a count on the list, but they're spread across.
Can you let me know, please? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I gotta find my place here. Discuss the planned use of $960,000 budgeted between laboratory fees and meter reading costs and the construction and repairs, considering historical trends are below budget and year-to-date is trending below budget.
The first part of this is laboratory fees that across all 4 divisions totals $158,000 for FY21 proposed. The various items under lab fees are all listed and broken out with their specific costs. Next slide, please. The next piece of that is the meter reading cost. That is $260,000 for Itron, which covers the cost of our monthly AMR meter reads, a mobile reader, reports and investigations, and the cost of meter reading equipment tablets and the mobile radios so that we can transmit read data that our meter shop and UB folks take into our FDM tool, field deployment management tools. Under the construction and repairs part of that, there's several lines that make that up. Building supplies, material supplies and roads at $423,000, and water meter shop supplies at $115,000. And each of the items that are purchased for those are listed as well.
Discuss the $804,000 budget between equipment and community activities accounts, up groupings $178,000 over prior year budget.
Okay, within that equipment group, there's the furniture, fixtures, and office equipment for $8,000. All other non-capitalized equipment, $93,000, with a listing of what those include there. And the computer software group at $513,400, which is essentially licensing for various software products that are used by our department and the rest of the city. Under the next slide, please. The community activities line, there are 3 items that make that up. There's a homeowner connection subsidy for $45,000, water protection subsidy for $60,000, and cemetery easements for $85,000. Description of each on the screen.
Okay, and the last question, which is similar to the question we asked for all departments, and that is their organizational charts. Obviously, such a big department. They have several charts here for council members to review. Looks like we have an overall chart for the whole department, and then one for operations and one for water division. Is that correct?
This the one on your screen now will be the specific breakdown of the water divisions, with the exception of our sewer maintenance group, which comes under operation. The rest of the operation comes on this slide, and then on the first slide as well. So some of the engineering groups, some of those folks are paid out of water sewer. Some split funded folks in the admin division. Transportation and most of operations are all general fund, with the exception of sewer maintenance. And then again, under the water division director there, you can see the various slides.
You're still showing the Assistant Water Division Director vacant?
Correct. Priscilla was promoted. She was the previous
Okay.
Assistant Water Division Director, was promoted recently to Water Division Director. So that assistant position is still in the process of being filled.
Okay. You are going to go ahead and fill that though, right?
That is the plan, yes.
Okay. President Shabazz?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Vince, the service warranty program fund that the fund that we offered, that is somewhat, I believe, has some points of revenue generation. Has it really got used a lot from constituents here? Are you familiar with what I'm talking about, the service warranty program?
Absolutely. So the water and sewer service line warranty program, there's two revenue components with that. One is based on sales that are generated by our customers, and the other is called the H2O program. So what we've been doing for the last couple of years with Department of Finance Utility Billing is we request the $20,000 under the H2O program each year, and UB is making those funds available to folks that are behind on payments, that need to get on a payment plan, and that's what that funding is being used for.
Great. So how widely is it used throughout the city? Is it something that many know about it, or is something that we could really increase the use of for our citizens to use to get such a warranty based on the condition of our current infrastructure, that would give a warranty for residents if there's anything that happens on their property that they would have to cover? This warranty will assist them in fixing any type of sewage damage, correct? So
That's correct. So
how prevalent is it used throughout the city?
right now, with my meetings with them, with AWR, who's the vendor who's performing this service for the city, our participation rate is approximately 7%, which they said is actually fairly high for based on what they have seen with their customers. But it's a good program. If anybody's got older, especially galvanized type lines or old terracotta sewer lines, if something does does break, it can be very costly to repair, and this program will handle the homeowner's responsible, the part that's the homeowner's responsibility. So for those that don't know that, the homeowner is responsible for their service line from the curb stop to their property, and they're responsible for their sewer lateral from the face of the curb into the property.
And one last question, Mr. Chair, and with the service company, how long is that contract, and when does that contract expire?
I believe we have one more year left on it. It was a 5-year contract that was approved by council.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Madam President, in regards to the first question you asked in regards to professional services, there's a total of 19, and there's in our engineering, and there's a total of 17 in our consulting line.
Okay, and of them was the 40 DB, 4 of them are DBEs?
4 are DBEs in the engineering line.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Walsh?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to talk about the program that the council president was just talking about. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised. I had the problem at my own house. Excuse me.
A little bit.
And I was
was
pleasantly surprised that the city worker is the one who told me about the program. So I thought that was pretty terrific. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Harley?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to comment on the same topic. If I understood correctly, that this program is just a 5-year program, and after the 5 years, what happens?
No, it's 5 years for this particular vendor that we have this service and warranty program with, and it will come back up for, renewal. So
Okay.
offer the service.
Oh, okay. After,
Yeah.
go ahead.
This was another one of the programs we brought back for the National League of Cities with the service warranty program. So I'm glad to see that it's doing well, you know, and benefiting. I think really needed a little bit more to let our constituents know of its availability, especially if it's the benefit it has for the city as well.
Thank you. I was just going to mention that for those that are homeowners, it's also, you can also add that to your homeowner's insurance for the same amount, the same service. I just wanted to share that as well.
Okay. Councilmember Oliver?
Yes, can you hear me, Mr. Chair?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. No, I just wanted to comment on the same topic to say that it was given to me and Jesse and James that they have a business in the 3rd district. They was able to work with this program because they had some old piping down there. So they were very happy that they came out and replaced and they did what they had to do. But this program, from what I've only experienced with the one project, but it was a very good program. And I really appreciate Public Works for this warranty. And the customer was very pleased because the pipes have been leaking for a long time and they were very old pipes. So thanks again.
Councilmember Gray?
Thank you. I can ask the same thing. Did you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'd like to compliment the program. And in fact, we do have a warranty through this program. And it spread like wildfire through our community because someone had their pipes break and the cost to them was discussed. And once people found that out, they decided they wanted this insurance. So I thank you for the program.
Okay. Very good. All right, any other questions, council members?
Well, let me ask this question. I have a slide that says O&M reserve balance. Is that the next hearing?
I'm sorry, can you just repeat that real quick?
I have a slide. The title of it is O&M reserve balance. Are we going to discuss that slide at the next committee meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a 6-year presentation. Yes, it'll be discussed when we do the 6-year presentation.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions from council members? Any questions from anyone in the public? Okay, not seeing any. We're going to break. I'm sorry to say we don't start the next hearing until 5:45, so you have plenty of time to get something to eat and have some dinner. You might want to stay logged in though while we wait for the next hearing. All right, thank you all very much. Thank you, Vince, Derek, and Kelly, if you're still with us, for answering all our questions. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.